If you are a woman who is looking to redesign your life, if you are looking to have more, you want to step into that next best version of yourself. And maybe you're saying, I need to finish 2026 strong. The summer's over. I need to get back on track and really go after my goals. You are going to love these coaches that I'm going to introduce to you today. They are our coaches from the Design Live Thrive Summit. Our summit is happening on September 9th, 10th, and 11th. On the ninth, if you are a coach, there's an exclusive session for you. Or if you're thinking about becoming a coach, there's an exclusive opportunity for you to come and learn about coaching. And then on the 10th and 11th of September, we're going to feature some of these coaches, and you'll be hearing from more of them later. Welcome, ladies. Emily, would you like to introduce yourself to us?
My name is Emily Terry, and my business is Mile High Money Mama, and I am a personal finance coach. And I work with women that are high earners and are looking to maximize their savings and building their wealth. So we focus a lot on just taking the money that you already make and then make it start working for you, as opposed to getting to the end of the month, being frustrated, saying, "Where did all my money go?" I work with women to get that money to stay with them so that they build wealth and they can reach financial independence and, if they desire, early retirement.
This is going to be so good for you listening. She's going to help you learn how to keep your money. I love that. Thank you, Emily. Soul.
Hello, my name is Sol Garcia. I'm an executive function consultant in Los Angeles, California, and I help busy professionals execute priorities.
Dr. Michelle.
Hi, I am a parent coach. I help parents that have kids with really challenging behaviors. So, big tantrums, a lot of aggression, defiance, usually coming from trauma or the ADHD brain that just makes it really hard for them to listen and do what you're telling them to do.
So needed. That is so wonderful, Michelle. And Victoria.
Hi, my name is Victoria Herceg. I am a body mind well-being coach, and I help women to feel safe in their bodies so they can release the tension, quiet their busy mind, and finally start living in pain-free body. And I really mean it, pain-free.
I love
And
it.
I get the women that come to me that they say, okay, nothing works. I tried everything. And that's when we get into the real work. And then things start to work.
That's awesome. I'm going to also introduce you to Thais Glenn, the co host of the Design Let's Thrive Summit. She's also a speaker. Thais, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Thais Glenn, and I am co-hosting this summit with Debbie one more time. And it's been such a pleasure to work with you and all those amazing coaches, just bringing this beautiful event together. And as you said, I am also a speaker, which is so much fun. This summit, I'm talking all about future self. That is the topic that I love the most. And it's really helping you understand what your future self is as a point of reference. Just sometimes you set goals and you want to create these beautiful things, but you're not too sure what that is. And the future self is such a beautiful point of reference for you to know if you're getting closer, if you're getting further away, or where you're going. It's like the GPS analogy. That's how we will talk about this summit.
Thank you, Thais. One of the things that you have an opportunity to do is you can upgrade and get a VIP ticket where you can get coaching sessions from two coaches after the summit or before the summit, whenever you choose to do it. You can book your coaching session with any of the coaches, two sessions for $27. Plus, everybody who signs up this year is going to have access to the Design Live Thrive toolkit. Each of the coaches is providing you with something special, a gift that will teach you a strategy that will help you be able to continue the work that they are going to be talking about at the summit. You'll have access to that from the moment that you sign up. Again, that's from every coach that is speaking at the summit. So make sure you save your seat, designlivethrive.com, and we will see you there. Emily, tell us a little bit about your talk. What can we expect?
My talk is called the Money Mindset Reset, and the focus is getting people and women to stop going from spending money, not realizing where that money's going, getting to the end of the month, opening your credit card bill, your bank statement, getting super frustrated, feeling really bad about yourself. And it's to get you from being a person that's bad with money to being a person that invests money. And we focus a lot on just talking about your mindset and your relationship with money and how you can transform that so that you are not feeling like you're going to a place of scarcity or austerity. Where in this business that I'm in, so many coaches talk about restrictive budgets, and those feel really, really bad. And that's the really fast way for you to fall off of your plan, because when you take things away from yourself, your mind goes into a crisis mode and it wants to protect that feeling good. And when you take that away, you set yourself up for failure because you get frustrated. You feel like I'm working so hard and I'm not getting the thing that I want. And so, what I focus on is teaching the people on the call about how you transform that interaction so that when you buy something, you're coming from a place of empowerment and that's something that you actually want to purchase and that gives you value. And then the things that don't, those mindless purchases that you buy something, it sits in your closet, it never gets opened again, those things you don't purchase. So that now at the end of the month, you have more money left over to start investing, to start building your wealth, and then get on a runaway scale of this where the habit builds on itself. And then it doesn't feel like you're not getting the things you want because you're still feeding that need and that desire. And as high earners, we also tend to go out and purchase things without realizing the $20 that we're wasting here and there that aren't giving us real value. And now we can save that money and then invest that and watch our wealth grow, our wealth build, and then also still be fulfilled so that we're getting those big things that are really important to us and not feeling like we are cutting all of the things out of our life and now we're just sitting in our houses in sadness.
Who's your ideal client? Who should come and listen to you?
Any woman, men as well, but I primarily work with women. And those are high earners making six figures or more that feel like I make really good money, but I don't have anything to show for it at the end of the month. And so this is how we're going to work through making sure that that money is actually money that works for you and you're not working for that money.
Oh, can I say something? We all have, Deb and I, we have the chance of listening to some of the talks and reading a little bit before it's finalized. And one thing that I really like that Emily does so well as she's just in her coaching business in general, it's how she's not really focused on a very strict budget of telling you what you can spend or can I spend, right? It's that mindset that she really teaches so well of how can we develop a better relationship with your money? Or how can you use the money for yourself, but not in a sense of let me buy the values that I don't feel right now. It's can we use the money as an asset? Because when you are not spending in those meaningless things, like she was just saying, you actually have the money that allow it to grow for yourself. So you keep on making more money just by existing, just by having a good relationship with the money that you already make. Because I'm going to tell you, it is so frustrating when you get to the end of the month and you're like, where did the money go? But you also don't want to be so tied to a budget. It's like, yes, let's lean and allow that money to grow for you. And the way you teach it, Emily, I just think it's very helpful and not restricted at all.
And it's very exciting too when you start building that savings muscle that the money starts growing on its own. And that's how we create passive income. So as your money grows, it starts growing and working while you sleep. You don't actually have to do anything. It makes money on itself. And then that's how we build that runaway wealth without making people go out and get a side hustle or finding creative ways to make more money. You don't need to make more money. You just need to be thoughtful about the spending that you're doing now.
Ooh, that is so good. Yes. I love that, especially in the coaching industry, when you hear that passive income and we think that we just create a course and we'll sell while we sleep. And we know that that is not quite the same. What you were talking about is the passive income. I love how you teach that. Thank you, Emily. Next, I would like to talk to Dr. Michelle because her talk is phenomenal and has helped me with a daughter with ADHD. It's a little bit on the aggressive side, not as funny ADHD side. Dr. Michelle, tell us about your talk.
But not fun ADHD side. I like that. So I am going to be talking about anxiety. My talk is called Stop Reassuring Your Anxious Child and Build the Confidence that they need. And I'm really excited about this because across the board of the kids that I've worked with and the various families over the years, I would say 90% of those kids also have ADHD. And a lot of times their parent, not ADHD, sorry, anxiety, and their parents do too. There's a lot. Sometimes I would go into a home and even the dog was anxious. Everybody is just on edge. And when you don't know when the next meltdown is coming and what you're going to do, that's one of the hardest places as a parent is when you just throw up your hands and you're like, I don't know what to do to help this child, to help the other kids. I love talking about this. And I think that most people are struggling with anxiety and may not even realize it because it shows up differently in our children than it does in adults. Some of the behavior that we're calling other things like defiance or strong will, maybe, or avoidant can really actually be anxiety.
Here's one thing I really appreciate how you explain. It's that when your brain is hijacked, like as a mother, in my brain, it's completely hijacked. I tend to blame my child. It's her fault that I'm feeling this way because she is hijacked. Now we have two hijacked brains in anxiety, totally flared up, trying to, and as a mother, especially as a coach mother, I want to reassure my kid that everything is okay, but I am not feeling that okay at all. Now we have these two crazy people trying to make something sane and it doesn't work. The way, and again, your talk is so good. If you have a child, especially if you have a child with ADHD, that you can sense the anxiety coming up, but even if they don't have some diagnosis like this, but you can sense the little anxiety in a child or anxiety in yourself of being a parent, this talk will change everything for you. The way she explains, and especially this whole, like, never works when you say, calm down. No one comes down when you say, calm down. When you say things like, just, you don't need to be anxious, right? It's not creating that confidence in yourself or in your child. Your talk is one that I'm super excited to rewatch. I love all of the talks, but this really helped me as a mother. And the way you explain the families that you help is just so beautiful to watch. And I'm so grateful that you are here with us and presenting the summit.
One thing I really like about this talk too is even if you don't have a child that you feel like is maybe not defining them is really challenging, maybe they haven't reached the limits of what you would call aggressive, but you're having some struggles, or if you have a child that you can tell they're just maybe more sensitive and more anxious than other kids in your family or than other kids around them, this is going to be a great conversation to have and to listen and get some tools and tips for calming everybody down.
I love it. Yes.
I want to mention that the coaches are there live. This is not recorded. They are there live, which also means they get to interact with you. You can be in the chat asking questions. As the host, Tice and I will make sure we gather the questions and we will make sure Michelle has those. There's a little bit of time left for her to be able to answer questions and to be able to connect with you as well. So make sure that you join live. We are doing something special for everybody who joins live, either on Thursday or on Friday. We also have the Ultimate Coaching Bundle giveaway, which is a coaching session with every coach, which is pretty cool. So you get to have one session with every coach. I really want to encourage you to join us live. Thank you, Dr. Michelle. Well, Sol, I think I'm going to have you follow Dr. Michelle. Welcome. I want to
Okay.
preface this by saying Sol was at our last fall summit and spoke a year ago. And boy, oh boy, she had a lot of people interested in what she was talking about. And I have encouraged her to talk about the exact same thing again because it was so good. I'm going to let her tell what she does. But if you identify with what she's talking about at all, just a little bit, I would encourage you to be there live.
It's fascinating. Many of us are handling so many priorities. And so this talk is for you if you have competing priorities and you are juggling a lot of balls. And here's something I've learned that not all balls are the same. Sometimes you're juggling plastic balls and sometimes you're juggling glass balls. And my job is to help you identify the glass ones before they fall and break. What I help you do is bridge the gap between knowing what you have to do and actually getting it done. That bridge is what I like to refer to as our executive function skills. And what I find is that there are a lot of overachievers and overperformers, these really high functioning, almost perfectionist professionals out there who suddenly feel like they just aren't as sharp as they used to be and aren't able to remember things like they used to and are feeling overwhelmed and can't put their finger on it. If you can imagine yourself going to a doctor's office and them setting you up to test your blood pressure and then putting you on a scale and measuring your weight. And then you go in and your doctor may ask you some questions about your overall health. And if you ever mention that you've been having brain fog and you just can't remember things like you used to, and you're just feeling very forgetful, I find that oftentimes doctors don't recommend that you go and get assessed for your executive functioning skills. And when I tell you that it is mind blowing what you find out about yourself when you get assessed every single time, my clients will feel so seen and so heard. I thrive on data driven decision making. My dissertation was on data driven decision making. I think it's really important to assess and evaluate and have like hard data to help inform your decisions. And so I'm really passionate about my clients starting with an assessment first, and then we can decide what the next path is. And so this assessment is scientific, it's research based, and it is considered the gold standard in the executive functioning assessment world. This is not Soul's special assessment. I'm telling you this because it's really important that when you come to this talk, you realize that there is a number attached to your executive functioning part of your brain. And I want everyone to know what that number is. I think knowledge is power. And when you know how you're doing, much like if you see that your blood pressure is out of normal limits, then you would certainly be encouraged to take action. But if you don't know what your number is for your executive functioning assessment, then you don't necessarily know how to take action. And you may be at home spiraling, stressed, and feeling like you're just behind all the time. And I find people make really expensive mistakes when they are under incredible stress. And executive dysfunction when there's parts of your brain that you're just not able to function like you used to, that's when you start seeing that you're in a meeting and you can't remember the word recall, it becomes really hard. Or you're in a very tense situation, and rather than executing like you normally would, making some decisions, delegating the work, you may become incredibly overloaded and just feel like you're just freezing in the moment. There are so many scenarios in which executive functioning skills work for you and where they may not. And so I want everyone to thrive and be able to be their best selves. And sometimes life throws us curveballs and glass balls all at once. And it's a matter of figuring out which ball or balls do I catch at this moment. It can be a high stakes season for you. And it's really important to have someone that's advocating for you in your brain and facilitate a process, a thinking partner to break down your priorities. And then what we do is once we have your priorities laid out, pen to paper, then we make a plan for those priorities so that you can execute. And that bridging of the gap between knowing what you have to do and actually getting done is the work that I do. And I think it's incredibly valuable. Get your executive functioning score done as soon as possible.
Thank you for that explanation. I tell you, everybody that's listening to this is probably like, oh, yeah, yeah, that's me. That's me. I remember telling my doctor, like, do you think I'm getting like dementia? I can't remember anything. And she's like, no, this is normal. Like, what? You're in this season of life. And so I think everybody could probably have the same. Maybe they didn't go ask that question, but there's that moment where you're like, something's wrong here. I am so excited for everybody to learn from you, so that the value that you bring to people and helping them identify this is really immeasurable. If you want to interact with Soul at this summit, then you need to attend live. She has a wealth of knowledge. She has a super great gift. And so you're going to need to be there live to be able to access it. Thank you so much.
And another thing that you just said right here, it's normal, right? Your doctor said it's normal. But what I like the way Soul teaches is that yes, it can be normal, but it doesn't have to stay that way,
Mm.
right? It's like again, and we'll talk to Victoria next, but A lot of people have this chronic pain, it's back pain all the time. It's like, oh, it's normal. That's your age. And it's like, yes, but it doesn't have to be that way forever. Even this forgetfulness, this lack of, I don't know if this is the correct term, it's probably not, but that your ability to see the priorities and decide, because when we have all those balls, like you said, how can I even see which one that will fall and break? I literally don't know. That's what Saul is explaining, that yes, you don't know and it's okay, but it doesn't have to stay that way. Your brain can actually shift and learn the skills of how can I understand what is important for now or not.
That's right.
Super helpful.
That's right. If you're listening to this and this is resonating and you're like, I just can't wait until the summit, I want you to look up something called COGMED, COGMED. It's a cognitive medicine. It's a tool that you should ask your doctor about and see. I have clients who their HSA funds will cover it. And so I want you to look into it. And your doctors may or may not have heard of it, but it's a neuroscientific tool that can help you with memory recall and attention. If you're finding yourself needing support and you're like, I can't wait until the summit, look up CogMed. I'm a licensed provider for that.
Is everyone now Googling it? You all just stop listening to Google right now. That is what Saul does. That's why you have to come live to those talks, because this is what happens, right? We get to something come up to your mind, and those girls are so amazing to give more and more information that will actually help you. So Victoria, I want to hear all about you, because again, being in pain, as much as you can say that it's normal, right? Your body has pain. You have such a beautiful way to not just explain, but really demonstrate how you can be pain free in the body that you have today. You don't need to wait years in physical therapy or drugs or all of those things to change your chronic pain. I would love to hear about your talk right now, Victoria. Welcome.
Yes, and actually, I work with women who were already or are actively in physical therapy, who are using services of massage therapies, and still nothing works. These are the women who maybe take even painkillers for the pain that they are suffering. So they are under supervision of doctors. The relief that comes from these treatments is only temporary. And I take you from what's only temporary, and like in case of taking pills, it will end up making you addicted to it, or you will just need to take the bigger dosage as the time passes. In 8 weeks, I take you from being probably disconnected from your body and seeing the symptoms that you are suffering, which might be the shoulder tension or like chronic lower back pain. It might be the headaches. And also, I help you to understand these symptoms are connected, which most of you never thought of that because it all seems separated. And in 8 weeks, you will be equipped in my coaching program for life to be able to decrease your pain first and then ultimately to make it disappear. And yes, I say you make it disappear. You are learning about it, on how to actually do it through understanding that the pain you're suffering from, and what my summit talk is about, it's called What Your Nervous System Has to Do with the Pain You're Suffering. You have to first understand where these symptoms are coming from and that they are actually just signals, and I say just signals, from your body that there is some attention required. If you take the load of, oh my God, this is just how it's gonna be till the rest of my life. If you're a woman who already had this thought, and also it starts already at 30 years old, I really like to give these examples to make you really hear it, because if you are more than 30 years old and you were like, yeah, this is the age, but I heard it already from a 30-year-old client who said, oh, Victoria, I'm 30 years old, things start to ache. So I was just like, no, this is just not how it is. And yes, pain is just part of life because this is how your body communicates with you, but it's not something that stay with you chronically. That's the biggest distinction on what you have to understand. And then once this load is taken off from you, literally from your shoulders, because this is also this tension where it's coming from, like all carrying all this heavy stuff, all these beliefs that my body is not working, that something is wrong with your body. No, nothing's wrong with your body. Your body is protecting you and it's sending you signals and it's trying to stop you before there will be some much bigger and actually lifelong consequences for your health and for your well-being.
This is so interesting. I'm telling you, everybody that comes and speaks at the summit, you're like, oh yes, you're listening to them talk and understand in a different way something like you've never understood pain like that, the way she just described it. And that's just a quick description. Victoria, I wanted to ask you. I was just telling my husband yesterday after church. I said to him, "Can you believe how many people have back pain?" That are in pain. You can tell while they're standing there and while they're sitting there, you can literally see just around me. It was like 6 or 7 people immediately there that you just see the look on their face and the way they're moving and the way that they're standing and breathing. You can just see pain in their body. It just feels like it's almost everybody. Do you have any sense of, is it 1 in 4, 2 in 4? What's your thought on that?
In my world, it seems like it's everyone. And I already, as I said, it starts very young. I healed myself from back pain injury. So that's why I also know exactly like hand-on like experience. And I've been there as well thinking, is there ever going to end? And there were moments where I was like, maybe this is how it's supposed to be. But then there was always something within me where I was like, no, this is just not how it's meant to be. And now I have every client is a testimonial that you can first significantly decrease your pain and then you can make it disappear. And it only gets better. And it's actually a lot of people, once the back starts to hurt, the lower back, then the whole posture gets disbalanced. So then everything else starts to ache. And especially with the age, because it feels like once there is one thing that aches, then people start to like give up. And it was like, oh, just it. Another peel, another doctor, and you just go from one doctor to another and nothing works. Because if there is no holistic approach, if there is no like holistic vision of what is actually going on, and the root is only one, you understand it, then you can actually do something about it. Because you cannot solve the problem where you don't know what's the cause of it.
Oh my goodness. So good. Interesting. Tice, you want to share a little bit about what you're going to be talking about? And then we'll dive into the summit details.
Yes. My conversation in the summit, it's about all the frustrations that you have in your life that I know that a lot of coaches and self-help books or whatnot tells you not to pay attention, right? It was like, don't focus on that because what you focus on grows. And I will teach you this system, this formula for you to look at your frustrations and get what you actually value out of your life from the frustrations. And from this place, we get to move forward to your future and use that future self. And I will explain all of the details about this, but really looking at your future self as a point of reference to go there instead of staying in your frustrations. The main point here is how can we look at everything that frustrates the caboose out of you in your life? And instead of just suppressing it or making it mean something is wrong with you, right? Like a little bit of what Sol or Victoria was talking about, this idea of, I just can't do what I tell myself I would do. It must be something bad with me. I was like, if that frustrates me so bad, so much, what if I look at this and really understand what it's missing? What is the value that you really care about? That it might not be time management that you need to be looking for. It might be something else that you really desire, you really value. And then we walk you through this vision of your future self to then really create that version of you who is not dealing with all those frustrations right now. Because truthfully, things outside of you don't need to change. I know we hear this all the time, right? I'm so frustrated that I don't follow my calendar and I might just need a new, time management tool or a new planner. It's like, no, the things outside of you don't necessarily need to change. But when you change, when you are connected with what you care the most in your life, then you can start making choices that are more, lack of better word, aligned with you for your own growth. That's a little bit of my talk and how, and we will talk about all the step by step of becoming that future self today. That's not just a goal, it's about your identity.
Well, I'm excited about that because I love all things future self. So you're going to love this too. Ladies, I would love to have you talk about your experience in building your business, building this summit, your summit talk, and all that's gone into this. If you are a coach and you're listening to this, I really want to encourage you to perk your ears up because what we do with our clients through creating their summit talk is they build their business. We help them. I said what we do, but it's really them. We provide the guidance and the structure and the processes for them to create, honestly, an incredible business and for them to put into action developing and growing their business before the summit, right? The summit's kind of like the icing on the cake. Emily, do you want to share about your experience? I know I just interviewed you on the podcast, so I'll leave a link for Emily's interview below. So I kind of know what she's up to, but share with everybody else about your experience with us in growing a business and preparing for the summit.
So when I first came to you, I've had over 15 years of experience in the financial sector in multiple ways and very well versed and knowledgeable about what I do and I work on. But I didn't know how to reach people and get my message further out there. And by hiring you, I learned a lot about the business side, the back end, the building the funnels, getting people to understand and getting your voice out there. And I also learned a lot about getting outside of my own comfort zone. We talked, I think, on both of the different podcast interviews about the networking thing and how I talk to people day in and day out, hundreds of people standing in front of big groups, but something about going into a room where you don't know a single person. And that first networking event that I sat in my car and it took me 5 minutes literally to psych myself up to walk through a door. And so what I really learned through this process is you reminded me that you just need to do it, go out there and try. And you're not going to, I remind myself, I'm not going to perish from any of these events. And I learned a lot about how much strength and how far I could go. And now I go into those events that I'm excited for. I'm looking forward to them. And I've built a lot of the business locally, which I thought everything was going to be built remotely. And yes, that's still definitely where a lot of the business lies. But there's something amazing about connecting with people on a face to face level. And that was something that I learned a lot with through your program. And then through the summit, it was also working with Thias and everything was really helpful in I have all of these great ideas and I know what works for my clients, but I'm not totally clear on the cold client that potentially comes. And Thias was great of steering me away from talking a lot about budgets. And while that's important at part of any finance program, that, well, yes, but Emily, you also talk about how to have your money work for you. And that's where you're gonna reach more people and tune in. Whereas just saying, here's how profit and loss statements work, nobody wants to sit in an accounting class. And so I gained a lot through working intensively with both of you on saying the same thing I wanted to say, but changing the way I said it so that it was received. And I know that I personally, it's all about the words you use and that I can take coaching in with certain words and I can get shut down when others are said. And so learning how you communicate with people, I think was really helpful because I come from a place of being the authority and having all the knowledge. And I was forgetting that there is also a place you meet people where they're not even sure. They just know they're frustrated and they can't articulate it. Our job is to articulate it for them and put it into words that resonate and then I can help them. And everybody that I talk to, once I started using those words that you help me work through, and it's not that you gave them to me, it's you helped me get there on my own. And when I use those words in conversations with potential clients, the light bulbs that you see going off, the excitement, and then now I'm getting people coming to me not from a place of anger and resentment, but from a place of excitement and enthusiasm, and they can't wait for their lives to change. That also is transformative for me. And so I found that your program really helped me learn a lot about myself, but also helped me understand how to best reach and cater to people so that I met them where they were at, not where I thought they were at.
Yes, that is such an amazing skill that we learn as we're building the business. And I love how you said that it helped, our program helped you too, personally, because come on, building a business is self development. We learn so much, we grow so much. And again, that is one of the skills that I have not heard many business coaches explaining the way we do it here, that it's not just about talking about your business, but it's talking about your business in such a way that the other person will understand it. So we really teach you how to communicate not just what you want to say about your business, but really translating on how they need to hear to understand based on where they are. And that is a marketing skill. That is definitely not something that you just learn by doing, right? You need to learn the framework, the skills before we can do that. Thank you for sharing that with us, Emily. That is amazing. How about you, Dr. Michelle? How is it for you building the summit? This is your second summit and building the business. How was that experience?
It's been really life changing. And definitely, like you said, as we change in our business, it changes us. Started last year, I didn't really know how to do the marketing part of it, like to even make the emails, to make a flow. I had done it a little bit, but to learn that system has this year, this time doing the summit, I feel like there's so many things ever since last summit I've been doing, and it just flows a lot better. So it's hard. And I was thinking about all the things that were so hard last time and how now, like, that's not what's hard now. There's always things that we're working on and building and developing. And I think for me, I found that my message keeps getting more clear and who I'm helping and how to let people know, how to be known for what we do. That's the challenge. And sometimes that takes some tweaking, I guess, and trying to figure out how to say something a different way or how to really hit on where somebody is struggling and what the real struggle is. And I just really have appreciated working with Debbie and Thais and learning more about that.
So, Michelle, I have to try to repeat something that you told me after the last summit. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like, I need to hurry up and there needs to be another summit because there was an influx in your business because of the summit. Am I correct about that?
Yes, I had several people set up calls, which was terrific. And also, it wasn't necessarily just people that come to the summit because you're talking to your whole audience in a different
Yeah.
way. And so, this last year, the way that I talked to my email list and whether they came to the summit or not, it's just changed how I'm doing that. And so, I feel like that's increased in a lot of different areas, even though it might not be like, oh, I came to this and this is how I found out about you. It changes everything that we're doing.
And the way you just said, we're learning how to speak about yourself and your business in a different way. That influences how you talk to the people that were already in your email list. And that's also what you were saying here. And I find that is another beautiful skill that we get from participating in a summit that you don't have it otherwise. Again, when we see that too, right, Debbie, the way you, Dr. Michelle, have been explaining yourself on your social media. And if you're not following her on social media, it's a must. It is so cool. And it has shifted so much by learning how to speak to your actual audience.
Good. Dr. Michelle, were you going to say something?
No, I think
Okay.
that was it.
Before we move on to Soul, I just want to mention that we actually write the emails for our clients to use for marketing, to market to their own list, to market to their own friends, a series of emails. We also provide all of the social media graphics along with captions and scripts if they want to do talking head videos. We also have help them set up Facebook group events, and we have banners for that. We have so many ways to help all of the coaches market themselves to the people that are around them. So they really gain expert status. We actually have people who sell their coaching before the summit comes, right? They're selling through the invitations to the summit. They end up selling coaching to somebody before the summit even happens. So exciting. So how about you?
I love to teach and I love to sell. You, Debbie, taught me how to sell my teaching, and I just really appreciate you closing that bridge for me because I love in my business and the work that is on the back end is all the stuff that I didn't know how to do. And so you gave me really specific go about working on the business. So working with you gives me the chance to focus on the client as opposed to working on all the back end stuff. I think if I was trying to do the back end stuff by myself, then I would have less time with my clients. And one thing I would say about Debbie, Debbie's always looking for ways to save you money. I would say at least 2 to 3 times a month, she'll say something like, "But don't buy that. You don't need that. I just need you to know that it exists." And I just love that about you, Debbie. You're not constantly recommending all of these tools because we know there's just so many of them and the program pays for itself, which I can't recommend Debbie enough. And the fact that you provide the summit where we can speak live is such a gift to everyone because in the age of AI, it's wonderful to see us really in our true authentic selves teaching live. So can't recommend you enough, Debbie.
Well, thank you. I want to mention what Soul has done with her summit talk, and she's not the only one who's done this, but immediately after being able to speak, she was like, wait, I could put this on YouTube, right? And it's like, yes, you can. And now she has a regular YouTube event every single Sunday evening that's part of her marketing. It's so interesting what happens for you after the summit that you didn't expect as a result of learning how to speak, maybe having the talk ready, the freebie, and just all the marketing that you're doing, your attitude about marketing and just all the way around about promoting your business. You learn and you do it and definitely changes how you show up. So go check out Soul on YouTube. We will leave everybody's contacts, all of their details in the show notes so that you can connect with everybody.
That is so great. How about you, Victoria? How did this whole summit prep change to you or your business, or how has it influenced you? You have some big goals, and I really want to know how that influenced you.
This is my second summit, and definitely it's getting easier. But I changed my talk because I took the experience from the first summit and also everything that happened in between. And this is something that I learned here in the program. And Debbie and Yutais always say it a lot, like always assess, 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 and then implement. So there is nothing like failure. There is just data. The biggest thing for me, and that goes for summit and business coaching, which you provide, which is the same thing ultimately, as you always say, and I can completely agree. It's that being a coach is one thing and having a business is another. And they go parallelly, yet they have some overlaps. But one of the most important thing is that, for example, that's what I learned that, for example, if the business side is not going that great, it doesn't mean anything about my coaching. I think that's very important message for all coaches because it's very easy, especially if you work with your heart, it's very easy to just get tied up into this connection that business going and not going right. I'm not a good coach. No, no, no. These are separate. So like more of this analytical thinking. And it's definitely during this summit, I was really going more into it. I had this experience and it paid off right away because the workshops I did, which is another skill you'll be gaining here in the program, I get so much more attention because I changed the title and I learned how to communicate with people better. And just one more thing, definitely the skill that you will be learning here is clarity, how to speak with clarity and simplicity. And the more I go into it, there is much more resonance. And Thais and Debbie will hold your hands alongside the way, which is also very encouraging. It might be challenging, the whole thing of building your own business and putting yourself out there.
And one thing, so for the marketing, what we teach all the coaches here is that we highly suggest that you do weekly or maybe bi-weekly workshops. And yes, that helps you grow your email list. It helps you get in front of more people. But what I think helps you the most as the business owner, it's to the iteration, right? Like you just said, Victoria, we ask you to assess everything that you do in your business. You post on social media, take 5 minutes and read the post. It does not mean that it was good or bad, right or wrong, but it does show you, it shows data, right? If no one liked your post, that's data. Why not? And we can start asking those questions because iteration is the most important part here. And the way you are explaining this too, it's when you are doing those weekly workshops, you are creating more clarity on how you want to speak. And that I think sometimes is missed. We understand that you are not, there's no ChatGPT or AI in the world that will give you that clarity. We all use ChatGPT all the time or Claude or whatever AI you are in love with. And it's a beautiful tool, but it does not bring you clarity. The clarity comes when you get all outputs that you have received and then you talk to your ideal client. And then you're like, oh, this sounded so bad, right? What can I change here? That iteration is what creates that confidence for you to be the business owner. And you have demonstrated beautifully, Victoria. Another thing is in the beginning of this podcast, before we start recording, we talked about this. All of our clients, all of them, 100%, they are qualified coaches. We do not accept clients that are not qualified, right? Because it's very important for us. If we're helping you create your business, it is extremely important that we know you are charging money from someone else because you know how to deliver those things that you are promising. We help you with the business, but we wanted to make sure that you are a good integral coach. Very important to Debbie and I. And you all know how to coach. That has never been the problem. The problem is, how do I get clients? How do I get paying clients? How do I talk about myself and the business? That's what we help you here create. And that's why the summit is so, like, it really becomes such a great experience when you see all the things that you already knew how to do. And now you have learned the skill of speaking to other people so that they can understand. That's what the summit is. So yes, Victoria, two very different things. If you are not making money as a coach, does not mean that you're a bad coach or that you're a bad person. Just different skills that we are learning to come together. Thank you for sharing that difference.
One of the things I want to point out in closing, and I'll use Victoria again as an example. When I first met Victoria, one of the things that Victoria does is yoga. And she was going to be like a yoga coach. I don't remember exactly if that's what it was. And I was like, after talking to her, I'm like, no, no, no. There's more to you than that, right? There's more to you than that. So a lot of times we have people come in fact, often they don't see the value that is in them of what they really could be or could become. And it's through us helping you see, certified or not certified, what you really bring that is the thing that people will buy. That's a perfect example of that. The other thing I just wanted to say was there's this identity change that would be impossible for somebody to describe, but everybody here has been through an identity shift. And you're not paying us for that, but I can tell you that there is unbelievable growth that comes from building a business that you wouldn't even be able to describe unless you've been through it. Your confidence in all areas of your life, the way you show up, the way you communicate, what you believe about yourself, it really seriously changes your identity when you really embrace the value that you bring and you package it up. So it's like, I know what I'm doing and I know how to communicate it. And I know that I am worth getting paid. I'm of high value. I make a difference in the world, all that. It just changes who you are forever. I got to tell you that. Anyway, I am so grateful for you. Is there anything anybody wants to add before we wrap up?
I want to
Maybe?
say
Go ahead.
for anyone who was looking for help in building their business and that might be considering working with Debbie and Thais, yes, it's 100% recommended because exactly all these components that come together, plus confidence only comes with action. And definitely you will be kept accountable of your action here. Also not through Debbie and Thais, but also through this beautiful community. And this is only 4 of us, but there is many more amazing, educated, skillful women in this community and you will get so inspired to actually take this action that maybe you've been hesitating to take. And Summit is one of a great help and boost for your confidence and to actually get you out there and to do the thing that maybe you've been hesitating to do for a long time.
That is so true. There is that internal thing. You see Emily doing something, you're like, oh, I'm going to do that too, right? Everybody gets into gear at the same time. Thank you for that, Victoria. I just want to mention a couple more things and I'll let you have a moment, Thais, but make sure that you save your seat today because you can have access to the Design Live Thrive Toolkit, which is a gift to help each one of you be able to understand, utilize, experience some of what these ladies are talking about. And look, this is only 4 of like the 18 speakers. This is going to be an incredible summit. If you are like, wow, this is something, you ought to see what happens in 2 days. Make sure you save your seat. Also, the VIP ticket upgrade. I cannot stress that enough. For $27 to be able to get 2 coaching sessions, that is really me getting these girls to do because I want everybody to experience coaching. I think once you get coached one time, you will always want to be coached because the value that each one of them brings that all of us as coaches can provide to people is so different than what people to understand. That is my goal. That's why I want you to upgrade to the VIP ticket. Again, $27. You can upgrade anytime and you can use the coaching session before the summit if you happen to be listening before then or after the summit. Join us September 9th. I'm going to be talking to coaches exclusively or to anyone who wants to be a coach. And then on the 10th and 11th, we'll be featuring some of these and more over those 2 days. And make sure you attend live so you can have a chance to win the ultimate coaching giveaway.
Yes, and also let's not forget that when you do upgrade to the VIP, you also get replaced for the whole year. You have a whole year to watch those talks again, and you get to download the gifts that we have. And the gifts typically go really well with the talk, but you have those downloadables, those assets that will help you not just remember, but exercise the things that you have learned. Now, another thing that I really, really love about the summit, it's not a place that you feel that you're being sold the whole time. We are not selling. This is purely to give you information, to give you activities, right? Exercises to allow you to learn how to see coaching in a different way. Many people don't even know what coaching is. And this is a beautiful way for you to not just learn, but really practice those coaching skills that we teach here. And again, the gifts that you receive for free from all of those coaches, it gives you all of the practice to do to really get to experience coaching in a very safe container. You're not being sold. And the coaching sessions, when you upgrade to VIP Pass, same thing. No one is tricking you into getting to a session being sold there. You will really just experience the pure coaching that those beautiful coaches have to offer.
Good. Save your seat, designwiththrive.com. Thank you so much. I cannot wait until our summit is live and we will see y'all there. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.